That's our official tagline, man. We discussed it last episode.
Pucker up, everyone.
Pucker up and far out flicks. I can't pucker up. The universe has forcefully inserted a pineapple into my metaphorical rectum, and I have lost the ability to pucker. The pucker is gone. Pucker no more.
A pineapple. Holy good lord, that would be painful.
might kill a man. I don't know, but
it might kill a person.
Literally split you in half. Ooh. Yeah, that'd be bad. That's my life. That's my life right now. That's gotta paint on a big happy smile like a fucking bozo clown. Like I am the dumbest man alive, and we will leave it at that. I was talking about this with a friend. My suffering is kind of funny. I go about it a funny way. I try to, at least, keep the comedy in the situation.
I mean, the hammer, just knowing that that's how you... trigger warning. Andrew is threatened to bash his head in with a hammer.
Only in jest, because as we've discussed many times before on this show, the thought of killing yourself with a hammer is kind of funny. It would take a whole lot of commitment.
A lot of commitment, a lot of strength.
Dude, yeah, you got it, but you have to go full send, like the first time, right?
Oh no, I don't know if, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you do that. Probably like snap it so like you like swing your hand upwards like into a pole that catches you on the inside of your elbow, so it just like swings like back into your face. Maybe, and you just have to like do full send baseball and just pow. Even that, I don't think it'll kill you. I don't know. Your forehead's pretty thick. You
have put a concerning amount of thought.
You want to go for the temple.
Is that what you've determined?
It's what the field research says. Oh man. I need to put that hammer back in the shed.
Concerning.
It's just looking at me right now on the floor.
Well, head trauma's theme of today's episode, actually, and it's episode 50.
Dude, we are so like I am so pumped to be here at episode 50 with you guys. Especially for anybody who's been along for the whole ride. Which, like, if you were listening in season 1, God bless you for sticking around. Hats off. You are the true Flicker. Or if you went back and listened to those episodes and
that's a trooper as well.
But you listened to them and then returned for this episode.
That's over 50 hours. If you've listened to every episode of this, we've wasted 50 hours of your time.
Honestly, more. I mean, 50 is like the minimum. We're not going to do the math because that would have taken like work and a calculator.
I don't want to do the math of how much time I've wasted. That's way more frightening.
Yeah. Well, think about how much richer our souls are from this experience. My soul feels richer.
I do fucking love movies.
I do too.
And holy cow, I know a lot more than I need to.
Well, we do, but like that's the beautiful thing about this, and like a little heartfelt moment with listeners, fireside chat with Andrew and Braden. It has like just allowed us to like justify just doing unbelievable amount of research as grown adults. Like, I mean, there's a time and place for it, and like whatever, you can do whatever you want whenever you want. But
sure,
the amount of time that we're spending looking into movies, watching movies, picking movies, researching movies, the laborious 15 minutes I spent building a schedule for the rest of the year, which is not. It should have taken less time. Wait, hold on. I'm going to pop a bottle for the, there we go, a little bottle cap open to celebrate episode 50. I don't know. I'm just so glad that we're doing this podcast, and we've made it to episode 50.
And thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening is basically the...
It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun, and it'll keep being fun. You know, we're not stopping.
I mean, Andrew, the hammer inches closer towards his desk every day.
We're like 2 minutes from hammer time.
It's hammer time.
Oh my god, I've
Fuck.
been sending, since this has been a joke that has circulated amongst my peers and friends IRL, I've been sending so many hammer time gifts to people. Some people think it's funnier. Some others are, I think, probably more concerned.
I don't know.
Let's talk about the movie, man.
That was fun.
Yeah,
though.
episode 30.
But yes, diving into today's movie, more horror.
Mm-hmm.
I know Andrew's horror.
Yeah, dude. Diamond status.
We established that in the last episode.
Again, man, I had to take some days off, you know. Let me come up for air for a minute.
Let your balls grow more sperm, you know.
It do be like that. It does. Oh God. Have fun editing this one.
Oh, it's all going.
It's all edits. We don't do that anymore.
So today we're talking about Hereditary.
Boom.
It's like that meme, like 30 minutes into the podcast, and now to dive right in.
To dive right in.
But I mean, let's be real. Hereditary kicks ass. I claim it's the best horror film of the 21st century.
I have also made such a claim.
What are some of your other favorite ones? Like, I feel like there was a whole kind of wave of independent horror films in the late, like, 2000 teens or whatever. The Witch, Babadook.
Yeah.
Hereditary.
I mean,
it's like a movement of, like, kind of artsy horror. It, like, hits that perfect balance of being, like, an art film and a classic, having the classic horror beats.
Yeah, and I just think A24 excelled at it, you know, tremendously.
Yes. Absolutely.
Another good one, It Follows. Fuck, that's a good movie.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, I think that this is, in my opinion, kind of like it's in the pantheon at this point, right? Like it is.
I mean, I think I would say that it's right up there with The Exorcist and all those films. I mean, time will kind of tell. And I mean, it's just, we're all so desensitized to like shitty horror movies that like the expectations are often low. And they were kind of low for me going into this one when it came out. Because I guess I was just in a bubble and didn't really know. I had heard a little of the hype or whatever, but, skeptical.
He was living in a pineapple under the sea.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I went in with pretty high expectations because I'd had a bunch of friends speak highly of it who'd already seen it. And it still blew me away. Like, I went in knowing it was supposed to be a good horror movie, and I mean, pulled straight off the Wikipedia page, it is widely regarded as one of the greatest horror films of all time. Like, how often does a film get that, like, accolade, especially in the horror genre, within 5 years of its release? Like, basically never.
Never. Usually that's, like, a designation that's bestowed decades later.
But this movie is like, it's pretty clever, right? Like, it is the craft of filmmaking at the level that like Stanley Kubrick, brought to everything that he did, but just like with 20 more years of filmmaking to build off of it. I mean, like, I don't know. It's a masterpiece, in my opinion.
And it's nuts that it's Ari Aster's debut feature-length film.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Batting 1,000 out the gate. And I mean, beyond it even, like our opinions and critical response being extremely high for it, which is true, it made a lot of money, especially for a filmmaker's first swing at things. I think it grossed $80 million off a $10 million budget.
That's a lot.
That's a good chunk of change.
That's a winner.
It is a winner. But I mean, again, like, it's just, it is a thought out and deep horror film. the likes of which we get, maybe once a decade. But I mean, again, the late 20 teens or whatever, people started coming with some heat. Like there
was a wave that came. There was a whole, things happening, movements, and I feel like that was one. And that was a time when I reassessed my own relationship with the horror genre after kind of dismissing it for a while.
That's good. I'm glad A24
basically,
it
kind of was Hereditary. It just came out of nowhere.
Well,
I wasn't, and I have never been super into horror, and I've gotten more into horror over time. But when The Ring and some of those movies came out and everyone was raving about them, I was like, it's just not in that top tier for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay, right? Like, The Ring, it had its place when I was in 7th grade. But, and
a lot of
it's fine.
A lot of those films, they just pump them out, right? And they know they're going to make money because there's a built-in fan base. And I think, and I think actually Ari Aster talked in interviews about how when he was making this film, he wanted to avoid even using the word horror, because it just had so many built-in.
Well, I think a major element of the film is grief. That's something that really sticks with me from it. And I mean, obviously, as always, we'll discuss the rest of the film later. But and of course, always spoiler alerts. But the wail that the mother does, Tony.
The Whale, another good A24 movie coming out soon.
Yeah, with our fucking man, Brendan Fraser.
The Day of Reckoning is coming.
He is in a fat suit for that film. I mean, it's a Darren Aronofsky film. I'm sure it will be good. I don't think he's made necessarily.
And it's A24, another A24 film. So it's...
Dude, they just got the fucking, indie dark / horror genre on lock.
I think we discussed this though, but from the trailer, they give no.
Oh, I have no idea what the fucking movie is about. I couldn't tell you.
Here's the trailer in a nutshell. Brendan Fraser's back, and now he's fat and sad.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But Toni Collette's wail in this when she experiences her apex of grief, which we'll get into as we discuss the plot. And I don't know, I'm going to bring it back up when we get to it, but I just gotta get it out there.
Get it out there.
Dude, her wail is just the most human, grief personified in sound I've ever heard. Dude, she should have got a fucking Oscar for that wail.
The acting is phenomenal in this from everybody.
Yeah.
I think Ari Aster, that's another just feat of this, is it's his directorial debut, and he got an amazing cast. All the pieces just fell into place for this fucking film.
Yeah, so Toni Collette, who is, I guess, the lead of the film. I mean,
it's kind of told from her perspective, the story, a little bit.
She was Ari Aster's number one choice, and she initially didn't want to do a film in the horror genre, but the script was good, so she got on board, and she talked about how she thinks the film was just a very human work, it explores human emotion on a frequency that is both true but often not explored, not in film.
So Toni Collette is Annie, who is the mother of this nuclear family, essentially. Gabriel Byrne plays Steve, who's the father. Alex Wolff is Peter, the son. And then the youngest is Charlie, played by Millie Shapiro.
So Gabriel Byrne somehow turned up. He was a purple Wikipedia link when I was doing some digging on this. I'm trying to remember where
I want to say it's Cool World. Is it Cool World?
Fuck, it is Cool World. You're 100% right. Look at that, dude. It's far out flicks, skeet web going everywhere.
It's all coming together.
It's all
Did you fact check that? Is that correct?
It sounded right. I just went with it, to be honest. But I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, it's Cool World, dog.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he's Jack Deebs in Cool
Yeah,
World.
okay, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Gabriel Byrne, his character Steve was
Dude, what a fucking like range of quality in film. Oh my god.
He's moved up in the world a little bit since Cool World.
Yeah, his filmography is a little obscure, but from Cool World to Hereditary is like the same like spectrum jump that like the McConaissance had. You know, like
right. He went from wanting to fuck cartoons to being the dad who just all this fucked up shit happens to.
Bro, he fucks a cartoon in that film. He doesn't want to do it. He's the one person who does. He bangs the cartoon.
I mean, I'm not going to say I can blame the man.
Those damn animators making cartoons so sexy.
Peter, the son, is played by Alex Wolff, who was a Nickelodeon star.
Alex Wolff.
Alex Wolff. Which that guy gave a hell of a performance. They all did.
It's true. The cast is extremely slim here. There's like some extras, of course, but in terms of dialogue roles, we're looking at 6 total actors.
And they said that the filming this was just brutal. It was like an endurance test and emotionally draining, and I could imagine. It's a dark film that there's no moments of like brevity. Like you don't get any break. It's just builds and builds and builds and is more and more unsettling and uncomfortable.
Well, it's the slow burn horror like element to it, right? Like, I mean, this film is like one part ghost story, one part possession story, one part. I mean, I don't know. It's just got so many. One part
grief kind of metaphor, you know, as you were saying earlier.
Yeah. There's just so much going on with it.
There's a lot to unpack here.
There is a lot to unpack. But there's, like, absolutely nowhere in that mix, like, a fucking ounce of a unicorn fart. Like, it's all... it is all
right.
Grim and dreary. And I am sure filming this was not... I mean, it's an incredible work, but I'm sure, like, it had to have its toll.
It took its toll, and it's not for everyone, you know. Not everyone wants to go to that place, but I mean that's what's great about films. It can take you to the full spectrum of human experience.
It's true.
For 2 hours or whatever, an hour and a half. By going to the inspiration for the film, I mean, Ari Aster talks about many of the classics, Carrie, Rosemary's Baby, which was one we considered doing, I think, for the last episode, and we've pushed it back.
Yeah, Ghost Dog won that duel, as he should.
As he should, honestly. I mean, I'm not saying... Rosemary's Baby is very influential in everything.
It's also long as fuck, so that's part of the reason I was, like, okay with bumping it.
He said one of the main inspirations was a film called The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover from 1989. I have not seen that, actually. But he said apparently there's explicit sex, defecation, and cannibalism. So, you know, I'm down for all that.
That's, all right, we should put that on the list. Holy shit, because I haven't seen that either.
All right, let's put that on the list. I will try to remember.
Something else, just talking about, like, on things the film's possibly based off of. There was a very, very tragic incident in Marietta, Georgia, where somebody basically did the decapitation scene from this film in real life.
I would think that happens often, right?
I've definitely seen a GIF online of a topless woman who's very attractive, like, definitely catch a sign to the head going, like, 50, like, because she was out the car being topless and just, like, smacked by a sign. So she, like, definitely died, but The added detail here is after the person in South Carolina, John Kemper Hutcherson, decapitated his friend via telephone pole. He proceeded to drive home and then fall asleep in the car with his decapitated friend sitting there, and basically like somebody walking their dog or whatever happened upon them the next morning with like a dude drunk in the seat with like somebody with their head.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Ari Aster's never commented on it, but it
interesting. That is interesting though, because that does sound kind of like the behavior of the guy in the film. Oh, going back to more of what inspired the movie. It's not exactly autobiographical, but he basically said it is about him and his personal experiences of his family. And I have a pretty good quote here. He just says, "I can just say that there were a few years which my family and I went through a very hard time, and the prevailing feeling became like we're cursed. And when bad things happening in quick succession, you can come to feel like you're cursed." That gave him the idea of, let's make a family that actually is just cursed. And I mean, from the beginning of the film, they kind of set this up that they're all in this dollhouse. So the main character, the mother, she creates miniatures, and like that's her art, and she's an artist. So there's like this room that's full of these miniatures, and one is their house. And there's all these cool like cut shots where like you're looking at the dollhouse and then there's real humans inside or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that family is cursed and everything is out of their control at this point. They're being puppeted, They're almost like dolls.
Oh, I see the little like comparison there.
That's kind of the metaphor I think he's going for. Like, there's no way of escaping their fate. Like, everything's been set in motion for like a lifetime already.
It's also just a creepy visual. Something about miniatures. They did it in The Lodge as well, another A24 film.
I don't like puppets. I think we talked about this in the Being John Malkovich episode.
Well, miniatures aren't exactly puppets now, are they?
It's in the similar territory. Like, I feel like if, voodoo dolls, all of that shit, you're all in. If you're making a small effigy of someone that's weird.
Yeah, but people do like miniatures. Like, her job is making miniatures for like, proposed construction projects or whatever.
Yeah, but apparently she spends all of her time making miniatures of her family and recreating the tragic events of her life.
Oh, like through the film?
That's what she does, yeah. Like she recreates like the decapitation of the daughter and the mom in hospice.
Which is a pretty fucked up set of things to make miniatures out of.
Right.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what she's doing, which is already odd, but I mean, that's how she's kind of processing and dealing with her grief, apparently, which, art is cathartic in many times.
Yeah, but miniatures, like, as a choice of art, right? Like, it's...
Sure. I mean, again, it's always creepy if you're making dolls of people That's not normal.
Especially if they're enacting horrific events.
Right.
Like death by telephone pole.
Yes. Pretty nuts. They actually filmed all the scenes in the house on a soundstage so they could like take away the walls or the ceiling and kind of zoom in on the room. So I don't feel like that's been done before, though. It's not like that's totally original. I'm trying to remember of a specific film, though.
The miniature thing?
Yeah. Maybe. And if it hasn't, then it's just like one of those ideas that's just like floating right in front of you, just waiting to like reach out and grab it kind of deal.
I mean, we've long portrayed villainous people moving like pawns across the chessboard or across a little strategy map.
There might even be a Twilight Zone episode that's kind of like that.
I do love the Twilight Zone, man.
God, that was such a good show.
One of like my fondest childhood memories was like summer, like weeks at the beach or whatever. There would always be like a Twilight Zone marathon on the 4th of July or like the day before or whatever.
That show holds up. That's
Fuck
I mean,
yeah,
for those,
it does.
for anyone who has not seen it,
It's as good as anything anyone makes
I mean, it's
now.
kind of like the old school Black Mirror, right?
It is the OG. It's like it is the great grandpappy of Black Mirror. You know.
But I mean,
There was
the
also
ideas are still mind bending now. A lot of them.
Sure, but there was also the Outer Limits, which we got to consider. And I think they even did like a reboot of the Twilight Zone.
They did reboots of the Outer
I think they've
Limits
done a
as well.
couple reboots of actually both of them.
But I think Jordan Jordan Peele? I believe he did a recent Twilight Zone reboot.
He did.
And how?
And how?
I don't even know what that means, to be clear.
And how?
But kind of just going right into what this movie is about. I think Ari Aster actually described this film as a tragedy that like curdles into a horror, which I kind of like. But it's also like a puzzle that you kind of get clues throughout the movie, but it doesn't reveal itself until the end.
Yeah, it's a film.
And there's like hundreds of clues, but you only pick up on some.
It's a film that definitely warrants more than one watch. Like I've seen this movie like 4 times now, maybe more if you count like drunk viewings. But like there's stuff interlaced in there. It's worth going back and like trying to put together the pieces and like fully absorb the work as it was intentioned. Because with anything that's like masterfully done, it takes a second or third or fourth sampling to like really like understand it. And I think that's true for like the Mona Lisa. I mean, that's not my favorite painting, but you know,
I like Vincent van Gogh.
I like Jackson Pollock. It reminds me of my Halloween month.
Well, that's
No, but like with any work of art, like multiple viewings only enhances your understanding and like the impact of that work usually for people. You can get bored of it.
the complex ones, the better ones.
I think I think any work a second.
I mean,
viewing,
you know, a 5-year-old can shit out a fucking piece of art, and it's all subjective, right?
I'm not
Like, how long do you need to spend analyzing that?
I'm not considering child art in my statement. I guess that's fair though. It is part of the art.
Or like, what about your friend fucking Joe Bob, who just, you know,
Braden
he wrote a song he wants to show you?
We are the Joe Bobs. We are other people's
Correct.
Joe Bobs.
Please listen to our songs.
Please. We got some cool cryptid songs.
We've teased the songs long enough.
Dude, we
gotta start throwing some in these episodes.
Dude, the Sasquatch rap. We got a Sasquatch rap. It's
All right, we'll throw in a clip of Sasquatch rap at the end.
Yeah, it's so fucking cool.
That's one way of describing it.
I'm not including fucking children's art in my statement. Like, let's just get that out there.
My point was there's a lot of shitty art out there. And it doesn't all deserve to be like an equal amount of duration of time spent thinking about it.
I think of this film Headless I watched, which is a really bad horror movie, where the central theme of it is a dude fucking throat holes. Kind of Ed Kemp style or whatever.
Nice. Yeah, we were Ed Kemper, right?
Kemper.
We were talking
Kemp.
about
Yeah,
this
yeah.
in the last one of the recent episodes.
I said it wrong then too. But I mean that is like the thesis of the film is just like fucking decapitated throat holes. And you're right. That film does not deserve a second watching, but I think most mediocre to excellent art, like you can always take something else away from looking at it again. Is it worth your time? Maybe, maybe not. But like there is always more to unpack with a second viewing. Unless it's like a banana taped to a wall.
I mean, a banana taped to the wall has more artistic merit than like 70% of all films that are out there.
Dude, that's like an actual example of somebody like just doing something silly and it being like interpreted as actual art.
I love my favorite ones. Someone like left their eyeglasses like on a bench or something, and people like all crowded around and were like taking photos of the eyeglasses, thinking it was like an art installation.
God damn it, people are stupid.
There's something that's like beautiful and artistic about like
about haphazardly
what happened,
haphazardly leaving thousands of dollars of technology on a bench.
I mean, it was just it was literally just like reading glasses.
Oh,
they like left their.
I thought it was lowercase I.
I'm not sure that eyeglasses is even an existing product.
I mean,
sounds like it's coming.
I think you're right. Wasn't there going to be like a Google Glasses or whatever?
I would fucking trademark that eyeglasses thing immediately.
I feel certain, and I mean this, like without a shadow of a doubt.
It's done. They did it.
That Apple has patents, copyrights, trademarks, fucking everything in place. Like there's.
I believe it.
Oh my gosh, yeah. There's no way.
I don't think that's a thing yet, though.
Well, there's the Google Glass. That was a thing.
Yeah, but. Eyeglasses. I think eyeglasses still means glasses for your eyes.
It makes me think of the eye brain, which is like Brett Gelman's famous comedy Bang Bang sketch.
I've seen that.
That got him in quote unquote permanently banned from the podcast. He still comes back as like personas, but never as Brett Gelman again.
Yeah, I think I saw a clip on
the
that.
Eye brain. Funny. I was relating to the.
Oh yeah, you showed it to me.
I was relating to the eye brain today. I was like, I should just buy a helmet that can do my thinking for me.
That would be nice.
I'm not good at thinking. I'm not a good thinker. me not think good.
Me no think so good. me no think you think working well.
Yeah, pretty much. Caveman brain. Andrew's a caveman brain man. Cave brain. All right, let's get into this movie. God damn it, dude! Like we'll never get this done. Episode 50, everybody.
Episode 50. Having fun.
So Hereditary. Anyways, I guess we gotta talk about that at some point.
This podcast truly is descending into madness.
Dude, this episode is off the rails. This is the most off the rails episode in recent memory.
That's fine. Okay. Essentially, just to lay it all out in a nutshell.
Yeah, lay it out for me, baby.
Spoiler alert. Here's the big spoiler. The grandma who died before the beginning of the film, who all the film is centered around this grief around her death, she was a cult leader. And she was basically had a whole cult. There's some demonic stuff. Apparently it's the demon Payman, which I don't know enough about my individual demons, but he's an important one. He's not Beelzebub. He's not what's the other one from The Exorcist? Pazuzu,
that's right.
I know that because there was a fucking weird guy from Winston-Salem who called himself Pazuzu, who like killed some hippies and buried them in his backyard and was like all tattooed up and a Satan worshiper. Remember that guy?
I do remember that guy.
There's a documentary about that guy. The Devil Next Door or something. It's pretty fucking good.
So, the earliest mentions of Payman, from what I could see, was in like early grimoires, like in the
grimoires. Oh, dude,
pretty cool.
Wish I had a grimoire.
I think that like this is largely because of movies, 90s movies especially. I think as a kid I wanted to be like an eclectic rare books collector, like the kind of guy that had like a saber in his fucking walking cane, and you know. I want to have my like brownstone level in a big city bookstore with like my hidden fucking cage in the back with like vampire killing equipment.
Well, like you're talking about like a dirty old one with like ancient text, though, right?
Yeah.
Or is it like a Barnes and Noble?
No, it's definitely not a goddamn Barnes and Noble. I'm talking about having a vampire killing fucking layer in the back. I'm talking about exotic, rare books. Basically, like whatever
the Vatican has.
Well, I was gonna say like McLeod or whatever. I think in Highlander, you know, he's like a collector of rare things.
Oh yeah.
But I want it to be books, specifically.
I'm with it.
Spirit-bound books, flesh-bound books,
ones that are bound in flesh.
Yeah,
like the Necronomicon.
I would take a hair-bound book though, like just human hair in the spine.
Human hair.
I got to work on a budget, you know. But anyways,
I want one that's made out of vaginas.
I mean, good luck, man. There's not even like that many human-bound books that we know.
What do you mean? How many vaginas do you think it takes? 30? I can get you 30 vaginas.
I mean, just stretch the labia out a ton, you know.
Polish and everything, dude.
Everything dries up and it like shrinks, you know, all the water content leaves.
That's the problem. That's why you have to weave them together into a tapestry.
But anyways, yeah, he stems from some grimoires in the 1800s.
But yes, what ultimately happens is we learn that, yes, Grandma, she was essentially raising this demon inside Charlie, who's the daughter. That was my interpretation, or the one that I liked. The theory I heard is essentially Charlie is the little girl who acts weird from the get-go. She's like mute, essentially, and just makes these clicking noises.
She's autistic.
Seems real out of it.
She's autistic as fuck, is like what I thought.
She's possessed by a demon, though.
So she's not actually autistic.
That's what I think. That's what I think. Because essentially, when Charlie dies, again, she gets decapitated by hanging her head out the window. It's kind of just an accident, but that kind of sets off this chain of events. Then the brother stops talking and starts clicking and starts acting weird, and I'm pretty sure like they hint throughout the movie that like Grandma was especially attached to the daughter. It's because they were like coveting this demon that was possessing her,
inhabiting this girl that is displaying strong asocial symptoms.
Yeah, she cuts the head off a bird. It's fucked up. It's weird. And then she gets decapitated, and that's also fucked up.
That is weird, and that actually, your theory makes sense of the whole bird decapitation thing.
Apparently, the original scene where she gets decapitated was going to be way worse. Like, I want to say they actually filmed puppets with the heads being squished and blood going everywhere, and they decided that it was just too much, or to kind of leave more to the imagination, you know, which I think is often a solid choice in many horror films. If it's done right. I do like the practical effects, though, and it sounds like they had like a solid... Like, okay, Ari Aster did Midsommar, which I don't even think we've mentioned that, but obviously we did an episode on that.
Yep.
And it's funny, I've got a great quote from Ari Aster. Head trauma will always have a place in my films. But in Midsommar, they crush the fucking guy's head with a giant mallet or whatever.
Dude, the mallet is so...
Apparently, they filmed a whole insane head-crushing scene that they didn't show in this of Charlie, which I think would have been fun.
They just decided it was just too much to handle, and he was like, I'm going to get it in later, don't you worry.
For whatever reason.
A24, you think you could keep me from squishing melons on fucking stage?
Head trauma will always have a place in my films. And that's not the only instance of head trauma in this. There's multiple... It seems to me that the spirit of Payman then goes into the brother who starts acting all fucking stupid. Which before, he was kind of like an ordinary teenager. And then at this point, he like smashes his head into the desk and stuff.
Yeah, dude, beats his face.
Which is one of the most shocking scenes of any movie I've ever seen.
I didn't think it was that shocking because I think about doing it every single day of my life. But
fair.
But it was still a cool scene.
It's like that fun 90s like office joke where it'd be like someone would print off a sheet of paper. It says "bang head here."
Yeah, exactly. But instead of being corny 90s laughs, it's somebody full force smacking their face into a...
But yeah, it's fucked up. And then I think ultimately so everyone's insane in this film. Everyone's all weird, acting weird. It's this nuclear family. The only one who seems kind of normal is Dad, who's again played by Gabriel Byrne, who fucked a cartoon in Cool World. I feel so bad for this guy in this movie though, because he's like he's the only normal one, and everyone around him is so which I feel like I know families like this, where it's just like there's one sane one, and there's just chaos happening all around them.
He is like the only person who's like acting normal. He's just like some total fucking dad shit. He's just trying to keep the ship level as best he can.
He's kind of passive, really, when it comes to as a character in the film, you know.
Yeah, he did like fail to tell his wife that his mother's grave had been disturbed. So don't lie to your wives, folks.
Don't do that, especially if it's it's about something as disturbing as that. Unless you're the one doing it. If you're the one who disturbed the grave, lie. Just lie.
I mean, like, best case scenario, you're a grave robber, and that's bad too. So yeah, I mean, Peter gets fucking possessed by Payman, you know, is the running theory after Charlie gets her cabeza. I mean, dude, like, her severed head is fucking gnarly. That is like, gnarly. It is one of the gnarliest things I've seen. And again, the wail from Toni Collette when she, like, discovers her daughter's decapitated head in the car that her son had taken out earlier.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
So fucked up, dude. It's one of those, like, fucked up human moments ever captured in film.
It's really disturbing and unsettling. At a certain point, Annie, who's the mom, she meets Joan, who I guess is the right-hand person of Grandma's cult.
Coven.
And Joan, we learn that they're all just pawns in this cult's plan. Like, this is all supposed to happen. And I had a few questions, and I'm still not totally clear, but at one point, the mom, like, goes to Peter, and she's like, we learn essentially that this demon needs a male sacrifice, which is not so dissimilar to Midsommar, actually. They both center around a male sacrifice.
Well, he's not a sacrifice. He wants a body to inhabit. Slight difference.
Slight difference, but yeah, I don't know. They don't explain it, right? But it does seem like the sacrifice is going to happen. I'm not actually sure. Or does he just inhabit? Yeah, I guess. Who knows? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, there's no rules here.
There's no rules in this place.
So the film kind of like culminates with like the demise of the family. So Annie finds Charlie's sketchbook with a bunch of fucked up drawings of like Peter getting fucked up. I'm so eloquent, such good language. Mom would be so proud. She like brings it to Steve. Steve doesn't buy it. She like is begging him to burn the book or whatever. She throws it into the fireplace. Steve catches on fire. So she tries to burn the book. Results in her husband, the only person who really, like, that guy really doesn't deserve to be here. He's just, like, trying to grill and chill.
I feel so bad for this guy, and it's not... The grandma is Annie's mother. None of this has anything to do with... He just married into the wrong damn family. Dude, and I mean, it's called Hereditary, and it's about, like, kind of this link between generations. He's just an unwitting fucking victim in all this.
Well, like, and Annie and her mother are estranged. So, like, when he married into it, like, the only crime he committed was, like, marrying somebody who, like, was just like, I don't get along with my mom. Like, he had no fucking clue. Annie had no clue. But, like, this dude does absolutely, like, self-immolate. Wants to burn his daughter's weird possessed book. So anyways, at the burning of the book, Annie then becomes possessed with Payman. So, like, Peter comes home, he sees, like, a naked coven member in the house or whatever. His mom does this like weird floaty shit around the house and chases him, which is super creepy. Like the whole like quiet floating and like pawing at the air thing.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
I don't fuck with that.
Tremendously creepy. But so anyways, she chases him around, ends up in the attic. She cuts her head off with like a freaking guillotine.
Piano wire.
Yeah, piano wire. Little guillotine.
Dude, slowly.
Dude, it's
that part's fucked up.
It is pretty fucked up. She also has the scene where she's just like banging her head against like the attic latch or whatever.
I feel like that was just... I felt like that almost didn't... I mean, I guess that is one of the scary moments of the movie, but that's something you expect to see in like a shitty horror movie, like a bunch of that, right? And it was almost like a nod to like that, like they needed something to appeal to like everyone. Because I do feel like this movie kind of appeals to both audiences, probably.
It pulled pretty bad with audiences, actually, despite being like critically and commercially successful. Audience ratings were mediocre, which is stupid. It's just like further evidence that everyone's an idiot. Right. But I like the headbanging. It reminds me of Evil Dead. You know, that's like totally an Evil Dead move. Just like violently smash her face
again.
True.
That's true.
So it gets a pass in Andrew's book. But she cuts her head off. You know, up in the attic, he sees some more weird shit. Basically, he sees his mom float to the treehouse. He goes up there. Up there's his mother's headless corpse, his grandmother's headless corpse, and then Charlie's head affixed to like some effigy mannequin-like thing. And that's when Joan comes up, and to further solidify your theory of like the possession jumping, she addresses Peter as Charlie. At the end of the film. I know.
But yeah.
That's the devil's in the details. And they basically...
Yes, they're essentially worshipping him, like, all the people in the town who are in this cult are, like, bowing down, right?
Yeah, as payment has now, like, entered his body or whatever. Or at least that's what, you know, we would think happened. Because all we get is Peter staring off. Like
this is almost like being John Malkovich, but, like, from a much darker leaning perspective.
Yeah, instead of a bunch of weird voyeurs fucking living in your body.
Were they aliens?
And being John Malkovich, they don't really explain it. It's just a portal, right? And like people.
It's kind of a similar thing going on in Hereditary.
They like all the people who live in John Malkovich's head or whatever. Like they'd been planning on doing it to live for forever. That was like
if the leader had just claimed that he was a demon and that's how he had this power, like I'd buy it.
I probably would too. So similar. Malkovich. It's very similar in that regard. But again, that's just like people trying to live for forever. And they're all going to they all turn into a collective in his head, which is pretty weird. But
I mean, all you need is stem cells from little boys. What do they call them? Schmucks. The removed foreskin. Those are how you get the good stem cells. And if you inject that right into your face, you stay young forever.
Sandra Bullock does it.
She does. Right into her butt chin, right in the center.
And she talks
right
about
in the hole.
It on air. Live and on air, she talks about it.
Then they all laugh like it's just normal. Totally normal. They're harvesting little boys' foreskins and using them to stay young forever. I just want to emphasize that is actually some like weird fucking... I don't know if that's the Illuminati or it's just a bunch of dumb rich people, but it's something.
It's something. That's Hereditary. Hey. End on foreskin harvesting. Episode fucking 50.
50.
Here's the 50,000 more.
Till we die.
Dude, it'll be like 2,400 before I kill myself with the hammer. After I've accepted transplanting my soul into a robot shell is no way to live. And then I'll have mechanized arms to do it with. So I mean,
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. You can program it so that it's a one-shot kill, headshot.
boom.
That's my problem. I feel like I'll flinch and I won't do it right, and then I'll just feel worse about myself.
And then you just are hooked on life support for forever from your failed hammer attempt.
Then you look like Artie Lang.
Yes. That's... Alright, folks, as always, like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell a friend, send us an email at faroutflixpodcast@gmail.com. We love you guys. Thank you so much for continuing to listen to our podcast.
Keep on puckering up, and we'll see you next week.
When life gives you pineapples, you pucker as hard as you can. You keep that pineapple out your
Pucker as
ass.
hard as you can, and squeeze tight, and deny entry.
Deny entry. You gotta bend at the knees and blast the ass backwards to startle and free yourself from your opponent.
Worst case scenario, shut yourself. It will confuse them, and they won't. And they will also recoil in disgust.
It's actually probably a pretty sound strategy.
A lot of people want to say I'm some kind of hoax. A lot of people seem to think that I'm a joke. MCs see me and they run in fear. Signs posted everywhere, Squatch is here. When you have a big foot, you need a big shoe. Give me the mic and I'll rip it in two. Gigantopithecus, I'm the abominable Yeti. Beef with me and I'll turn you to spaghetti. Some people like to say that Bigfoot ain't real. Well, here I am now, so what's the deal? Just because I'm big and covered with hair doesn't mean that we don't breathe the same air. Mating season, y'all, and I'm hunting for tail. You know she's in heat when you hear a Sasquatch yell.